All right, hello, Rainy Math students. So we have a test, unit test or module test this Friday. So here is your review. So number one, fluff and fold laundry charges for each load of laundry according to the equation y equals 1.5x. Graph the equation, right? So if you don't go to fold laundry, obviously you're not going to pay any money. So the first point that I'm going to draw is at 0, 0. Because once again, if I'm not doing any laundry, then they're not going to charge me any money, right? And then for every single load that I do, the slope is 1.5 or $1.50. So if I go for one load, it costs $1.50. That is called my unit price or my unit rate. If I do 2 loads of laundry and I do $1.50 times 2, that gives me $3. And the way I see it, as long as you have 3 points, you will be able to draw your graph or your line in this case. So when we connect all these, this is what my graph looks like for question number 1. For question number 2, complete the table if the cost y is proportional to the number x. So you'll notice here, we're talking about the number of snacks and how much it costs. So we are saying that it's going to cost $6 for 2 snacks, right? So then if we divide 6 divided by 2, this tells us that every snack is $3, right? So if every snack is $3, then how many snacks would give you $12? So what number times 3 gives you 12? And in this case, it would be 4. And then again, what number times 3 would give you 21? This would be 7. So essentially all we're doing is we're multiplying it by 3 because that is my unit rate. So for the very last one, very simple, 10 times 3 means that you will be paying $30 for those snacks. For number 3, it says, Daniela makes apple pies each fall. The cost at the grocery store A for X number of pounds of apples is shown in the table. The cost of grocery B is $2.20 per pound. What is the least amount of money Daniela will spend if she wants to buy 15 pounds of apple? So again, there's 2 stores. There's store A and there's store B. Store A is here in the table. So we need to figure out how much each pound of apples costs at the store. So for this one, we just simply do $4.50 divided by 2 because we're trying to figure out how much each pound cost. So that means that for store A, it's going to cost us $2.25 per pound. Okay, if I want to buy from store A. From store B, it just simply tells us up here as part of the question that it costs $2.20 for store B. So that one is just given to us. So obviously, if you're going to have to buy 15 pounds of apples, you want to go to the store where they're going to charge you less. The store that charges you less is $2.20 per apple. Right, so we're looking at this store. And they specifically want to know how much will it cost for 15 pounds. So if we do 15 pounds times the $2.20, then it would cost us a total of $33 at store B. And that is your final answer. For number 4, they are looking at the cost of boxes of cookie dough, and they want to know what is the slope of the line. So remember to find the slope of the line. We call that M, and we just call that the rise over the run. So you choose any 2 points you want. Some of you guys are going to be like, but there's 3 points. Okay, cool. So take one of the points out. It really doesn't matter, right? So if I go from this point here, we'll call this point 1, to this point here, which is called point 2. We're trying to see how many times up it goes. In this case, it's going up 1, 2, 3. However, remember, look at the costs for dollars. They're going up by $10 each. So it's not going up by $3. We're going up by 10. So it's 10, 20, 30. So we are going up 30 Let me write that a little nicer. We're going up $30. And then over the course of 2 boxes, so I move this over, these are just going by ones, so 30 divided by 2. So if I do 30 divided by 2, that means that each box cost $15 for 1 box. So my answer for slope is just simply $15. That would be your slope. If you put 15 over 1, that would be acceptable as well. For number 5, they want us to find the slope of the line given 2 coordinate points. So remember, what you need to do here is you need to label them. This is x1, this is y1. This is x2, this is y2. Just like on the review on the test, we will give you the formula. The formula is here, the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So when I plug this in, y2 is 1. We subtract that from y1, which is a negative 3. And then for the bottom part, it's x2, which is a negative 2, minus my x1, which is a 6. So on the top part, remember that if you subtract a negative, this turns into a positive, so 1 plus 3 makes 4. Negative 2 minus 6 gives you a negative 8. You always want to simplify your fractions, so divide by 2, divide by 2. We end up getting instead of dividing by 2, let's divide by 4, because if you divide by 2, you're going to have to divide again. So let's divide by 4, because 4 goes into both of those. So this gives you a 1 here. This gives you a negative 2. You can't do anything else to that, so your final answer would simply be negative 1/2 for number 5. For number 6, they want us to write an equation. Remember, to write an equation, it needs to be written in the form y equals mx plus b. We need to find out what the m is. We need to find out what the b is. So to find your m, remember, it's always going to be rise over your run. So we're going to call this point 1. We're going to call this one point 2. We have to go from 1 to 2. We have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Go down 4. That is your rise. And then for your run, you have to move over 2 spots to the right, which is a positive. Negative 4 divided by 2 gives you a negative 2. So there's your slope. And then remember that to find your b, it's simply where the line crosses the y-axis. So let me make your life a little easier. This is your line. This second one that I'm highlighting is your y-axis. So the question is, where do they cross? They cross right here. Made it nice and big for you guys in purple. And that's simply at 1, 2, 3, and because it's above the 0, it's a positive. So when we write our equation, it looks like this. Y equals negative 2x plus 3. All I did is I found the m, I found the b, I replaced it in for my equation. Moving on to question number 7, they want us to match the slopes to the line on the graph. Okay. So you'll notice there's a bunch of different lines here. There's line A, B, C, and D. And then down here, we gave you the different slopes, and we just have to match. So the first one says, which one has a slope of m equals 0? So remember, if it has a slope of 0, think of a car that is sitting on a flat surface. Okay, the car's not going to go up, it's not going to go down, it's literally flat. So in this case, for the first one, that one matches with letter A. So letter A is this one up here. I just highlighted it nice and thick for you guys to see. But again, it's the one that doesn't have a slope. It has a 0 slope, I should say. If we go to the one underneath it, they want to know which line has a slope of 2/3, which means you go up 2 and over 3. So it's going to have a diagonal line. So if I look at, let's say, for example, I put a point here, and a point here, which one goes up 2 and to the right 3, and the only line that works is going to be line D for that one. For the next one, they want to know which one has an undefined slope. Undefined, picture there not being a road. It's like you falling down or you flying straight up, right? And essentially think of like Supreme Scream, a roller coaster. So the only line here that goes straight up and straight down is going to be letter C. And that must mean that the line that has a slope of 3 is going to be letter B if we use process of elimination. So again, you're just matching which line has which slope. For number 8, thank you to Mr. Rogers. He says the total amount Mr. Gutierrez earns refereeing soccer games is directly proportional to the number of hours he works. So how much does Mr. Gutierrez earn per hour? So if you notice here on the graph, okay, it tells you that I earn $20 in 1 hour. So that simply means that I just make $20 per, that just means that I earn $20 per hour, and that is my slope, also known as my unit rate, okay? Moving on to number 9, they want us to graph y equals 2x minus 4. So remember, guys, you need to have an m, which is your slope. You need to have a b, which is your y-intercept. So always remember that the number in front of your x, whether it's a number or a fraction, this one's going to be your m, which means this one's going to be your b. So for my slope, we simply write 2 or 2 over 1 since we need a rise and a run. For the b, that's the starting point, and at the very end, you'll notice that this is a negative 4. So all we need to do is, it tells us that it starts at negative 4, which is going to be down here. And then my slope is simply up 2 over 1. So there's my point there. I can erase this to make your life easier to see. And then all you need to do for this one is take your ruler, protractor, whatever it is that you have at home or even in my classroom. And then we just simply connect these lines, and your line would look like this. Please make sure that you put arrows on both sides because, as we have discussed in class, it goes on forever and ever and ever. A line means that it's that there's no ending to it. For number 10, High Mountain Ski Resort offers a special session pass at the beginning of each ski season. The equation y equals 4x plus 6 represents a total cost, also known as y, for skiing x number of times. So they want us to draw the equation. So once again, I'm going to use y equals the 4x plus the 6. The 4 is my slope, so that's my rise over run. So I'm going to put 4 over 1 because there's an imaginary 1 underneath it. And then your b is your starting point, and in this case, your starting point or your initial value is simply a 6. So here, our starting point is at 6. So simply what that means is when you get a pass, they don't care how many times you go. You're going to have to pay $6 up front. And then for every single time you go, they're going to charge you $4. So from 6, we simply go up 2, 4. Remember, these are going up by 2s. You could also just simply go 1, 2, 3, 4. But either way, 6 plus 4 gives you 10. And then it tells me to go over 1 spot. So then my second point is simply here. This one's my first point. That's my second point. And then again, taking your ruler, protractor, whatever it is that you have, we simply draw a line with an arrow at the end, which shows our graph to this equation specifically. For question number 11, it says write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line shown below. So remember that slope-intercept just means y equals mx plus b. The two things that we need to find, of course, is my m and we also need to find my b. The m is your slope, so always remember that your m is your rise over your run. So you choose any 2 points on here. You notice that we gave you 2 points. So I'm going to call this point 1. I'm going to call this one point 2. So if I go from point 1 to point 2, we're going to go down 1, 2, 3 spots. And then I'm going to go over to the right 1 spot. So my slope becomes a negative 3 over 1. Or you can simply just say negative 3. And then for your y-intercept, also known as your b, they simply want to know, or I simply want to know, where does your line cross your y-axis? So once again, here's my original line. Let me mark my y-axis, which is this one. Where do those two intercept or intersect? You can use either word. They intersect there. And that is at 0 and 2, also known as 2. Okay? So then when I write my equation would simply be y equals negative 3x plus 2. All I did is I found my m and my b, and I plugged them in. For number 12, it says, you are selling tickets. You make $50 for signing up to sell tickets. So right off the bat, you make $50. You also make $75 each time you sell each ticket. So write an equation. So once again, remember to write the equation. We need y equals mx plus b. Your b will always be your starting point. So right off the bat, the question is, well, how much do they give you regardless? So they are going to give you $50 for just signing up to sell tickets. Your slope will be your unit rate. It's how much extra you get for selling each ticket. In this case, they are going to give you 75 cents for each ticket you sell. So my slope is 75 cents. Don't forget to put your x after. And this is your equation for that. For question number 13, it says, the table shows points that lie on a line. Use a slope and y-intercept to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So again, we need to put this in y equals mx plus b. We need to find two things. We need to find the m, and we need to find the b. So, it doesn't matter which one you start with. I like starting with the letter b first. So for the letter b, it's simply asking you, when x is 0, what is your y value? In this case, when x is 0, your y value is 5. So your y-intercept is 5. That is where, if we were to draw this, the line would cross the y-axis at 5. Okay? And then in order to find your slope, it's going to be your rise over your run. But because we don't have a graph, we say the change in y over the change in x. So when we look at this, we ask ourselves, how is the y changing? How do you go from 5 to 2, from 2 to negative 1, from negative 1 to negative 4? Clearly this is going down. It's going down by 3. So chances are if the first one's going down by 3, the next one's going down by 3, the next one's going down by 3 because it's a line. So my slope is a negative 3 for the top part. And then if you look at your x's is this column over here. How do you go from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3? This one is going up by 1, up by 1, up by 1. So this one is going up by 1. So when we write my equation, again, we need y equals my m, which is my slope. We're going to call that negative 3. The x you leave as is, and then your b is the value that you found when x is 0, and that's simply 5. So there's your answer. That's how you create an equation from a table. For number 14, it says Bear Mountain offers a special season pass. They charge you $5 for each time, $5 for each time you ski, and $10 as your starting fee. So again, right when you sign up, they are going to charge you $10. They don't really care how many times you go skiing. They're just going to charge you $10 as a startup cost. Okay? And they want us to complete the table for if you go skiing 5 times. So on the left side, we're going to say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then remember that every single time you go skiing, it's going to cost you $5. So it's going to be $5 more. So for this side, we say plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, plus 5. So when we start with our $10 fee, the first time that we go skiing, not only is it going to be $10, but it's also going to be $5 for the cost of skiing. So 10 plus 5 gives you $15. That's how much it would charge you. If you go skiing 2 times, 2 times 5 gives you 10. And then plus the initial fee, which is another 10. So this is 20. And if you haven't figured it out by now, this is just simply going up by 5s. So this one's 30. And then this one's 35. And then these last two are the examples that we've been doing lately in class. So for number 15, they're simply telling you that they don't care what the value of x is, y has to be 4. So all we do is we create 3 coordinate points, 3 coordinate points, 3 coordinate points. And the only thing they care about is that the y value is a 4. The y value has to be a 4. So for this, it doesn't matter what your x value is. It could be a 0, it could be a 3, it could be a -2. They really don't care. Okay? So when we graph this, 0, 4 is going to be located here. 3, 4 is going to be 3 on the x-axis and 4 on the y-axis. And then -2, 4 would be -2 on the x-axis, a +4 on the y-axis. And again, using your ruler, protractor, whatever it is that you have, we simply are going to connect the dots. And let me connect them with the same color. And it looks like this. And then please make sure that you, of course, are drawing arrows on both sides because it is a line. It goes on forever and ever and ever. For number 16, very similar to number 15. The only difference is that they are telling us that x has to be a -3. So when I draw this, again, we're going to do 3 coordinate points, 3 coordinate points, 3 coordinate points. We don't care what the y values are, but the x values in this case have to be a -3, a -3, a -3. And you choose whatever y values you want. It really does not matter. So I'm going to go with a 0, a 1, and a 2. You choose whichever ones you want. And then when we graph these, you locate -3 on the x-axis first. So -3, 0 is going to be right here. The second one is going to be -3 and 1, which would put it here. And then the last one would be -3 and 2, which would put it here. So you simply take your 3 points, you connect them with a nice straight line using a protractor, ruler, whatever it is that you have. And then please don't forget to put the arrows on both sides because a line means that it goes on forever and ever and ever. So hopefully this unit test review helps you out. We do have a test this Friday, as I have said before. And other than that, good luck studying, and I will see you guys in class. See ya.